this video, I'm going to go into depth about Robotic Process Automation, also known as RPA. So why should you care to learn about RPA? Well, in short, RPA is one of digital transformation's best friends. RPA stands for Robotic Process Automation, and it helps us achieve goals faster, effectively, and at lower cost. But before we get into the details of RPA, let's first touch on the automation bit of RPA. So what do we mean by automation? We can say that automation is a term for software applications where human input is reduced. And we typically try to automate business processes or tasks. And a business process in particular is a series of repeatable tasks that, when they're done in sequence, achieve a specific objective. Using a repeated set of processes, we can increase productivity and efficiency, and hopefully reduce human error. So then what is RPA? RPA stands for Robotic Process Automation. And Robotic Process Automation is a software robot that replicates the interaction between a human and their computer, with the goal to automate tedious and repetitive tasks. More specifically, a software robot is configured to perform work by interacting with one or more systems via user interfaces, desktop applications, web apps, terminals, and other things. The software robot is not physical, nor is it mechanical. It's a robot that is programmed and lives on your PC. It's software, effectively. Let's take a minute to compare physical robots to software robots. Physical robots and software robots are not too different from one another. They do different things and certainly look different, but live to increase efficiencies for processes. For example, a physical robot can take objects from an assembly line, and and after that it can pack those objects into different envelopes. A software robot, on the other hand, does things like logs into web pages and copies information from one page to another, maybe even into a legacy system. And that's just one example, right? So what are all these tasks that a software robot can perform? Software robots can perform data retrieval, data entry, button clicks and keystrokes, file uploads and downloads, invoice processing. They can send and read emails. They can do document creation, PDF reports, Excel spreadsheets, Word files, and so on. They can query lots of different databases. They can call APIs. They can utilize web services. Even for your desktop, for Windows OS, it can use the file system, the clipboard, the taskbar, services, web apps, Java, SAP, remote desktop, for example. At the end of the day, you can think of RPA as a game of Simon Says, in which the robot only knows and performs those actions that we tell it to. The only things that they will execute is what we have defined. So, which situations are suitable for RPA? If a person can do it, generally there's a robot that can emulate it. Routine and rule-based tasks are also good candidates. Good for legacy systems where only a few people know how to use them, or it's not possible to integrate it with an API. Large amounts of manual data entry are usually good candidates for RPA. Generally, it takes over processes that have a lot of employees involved. Companies with limited budgets who want to implement new changes to their old systems. So we know what RPA is suitable for, but what's so great about it? So generally, you can create, test, and deploy new automations in hours or a few days instead of months. RPA is very easy to integrate and has no impact on existing infrastructure at all. It's very adaptable, it's easy to configure, there's a low operational cost, and these robots, of course, work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Cost efficiencies are significant, especially when routine and manual tasks are automated. And of course, with bots, you eliminate human errors such as copy and pasting data into multiple systems. So, is RPA a threat to the workforce? Understandably, automation may be seen as a threat to job security, but it really isn't. When it's deployed properly, it becomes a source of opportunity for both the business and the workforce. RPA replaces tasks, not humans, and it automates highly repetitive things to help workers actually do their job better. So knowledge workers become more valuable. Why? Because now they have the time to apply themselves to benefit the business and its customers instead of working on the mundane. This is perhaps the primary reason why you should be leveraging RPA as soon as possible. You can't allow smart people to perform repetitive tasks. That time and energy that they're wasting doing mind-numbing tasks could be spent on more business-critical work. They need to focus on higher return work while RPA takes care of the mundane. So looking ahead, what's after RPA? The next areas you'll want to implement after RPA are workflow automation, intelligent automation, and artificial intelligence. So let's talk a little bit about each one of those. Workflow automation is essentially the process of using rule-based logic to launch a series of tasks that run on their own. After you establish the rules and logic, automated workflows, for example, can send emails, set up reminders, and schedule tasks, for example. In terms of intelligent automation, that's kind of a general term that refers to using all of the different automation technologies together. All together, things like RPA, artificial intelligence, and workflow automation all as one. So what is artificial intelligence? It's basically the simulation of human intelligence by computers. And with this, the computer will be able to analyze structured and unstructured data faster than a human ever could, right? And being able to make complex decisions quickly is what it's all about. Specific applications of AI include natural language processing, speech recognition, and computer vision. For example, think about the process of requesting a new credit card. A client either goes online or goes into the bank to request a new credit card and fill in the form with all of their personal information. The bank assistant sends that form to the executive to approve the card for the client. After he or she approves or not, they send an email to the client saying that the card is ready or it won't be ready. So if we wanted to introduce AI into these steps, we could automate the step of extracting all of the information that the client was providing in order for the bank to make a decision. And then, of course, feeding analytics to the executive so that they can make the best decision possible in a more timely manner. And obviously that would increase the amount of requests that they could either approve or deny in a day. Not to mention, you could take it even a step further and fully automate the decision for low-risk clients. We can also think about the introduction of workflow automation. For example, our flow could be the assistant sends the docs to the executive, and the executive either approves or denies, and then after the decision, an automated email will be sent to the client. If we're trying to automate invoice processing, and we have one that is written by hand, with AI we can automate that as well. In a second scenario, an insurance provider can use AI to calculate payments or make predictions to calculated rates. And with RPA, we'll automate the use of software that handles the policies, and instead of waiting on a person to make complex decisions, we can use artificial intelligence. So I hope this gave you a great initial understanding of RPA. Before we end, I wanted to leave you with 8 key concepts of RPA. RPA is technology that replicates exactly what a person does on a computer. 2, there is no impact on existing infrastructure if we want to start using RPA even today. 3, robots work with our existing infrastructure. 4, one robot equals one PC, so it only takes a single PC to deploy a robot. 5, robots work more than we do. They work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Number 6, robots can be executed by a workflow or an agenda. Number 7, there are safe and encrypted uses of credentials throughout. And finally, number 8, you get a nice dashboard with daily stats about how the processes are being executed, so you can rest assured that things are happening as you expect them to happen. Thanks for joining me.